Hi, welcome to video number 2. So we're going to talk about definitions of dwellings. What makes a dwelling a dwelling? So, what makes a dwelling is if it's got its own front door or its letterbox, it's a place of habitation for more than half the year, and it's got its own kitchen. So things like boarding houses don't count because you will have a whole lot of rooms and they'll have a big shared kitchen and a shared bathroom and stuff, so that doesn't count. And each room doesn't have its own front door as such. Okay? Motels don't count because, yes, they've got their own kitchen, they've got their own front doors and all that sort of stuff, but you don't live in them for more than half the year, so therefore they're not your place of dwelling. Similarly, this is my weekend home. I live in the country, but when I'm here, I'm sleeping in the little flat thing, and I'm here for 2 days a week. So therefore, you're not there for more than half the year. It doesn't count. Things that do count: private houses, flats, apartments, houses with inside gated communities, permanent motorhomes, permanent caravans with kitchen facilities, etc. Granny flats, if they've got their own separate kitchen, not if they're just a little sleep out. Yeah? All those sorts of things count. Businesses, churches, taverns, IHC houses, they're businesses. They don't count. They're not permanent dwellings. Right? They're not a private dwelling. Although sometimes you can have a dairy and you can have a little private house in behind it, so the people who own the dairy live in the house behind. The house behind counts as a dwelling, so you just got to be careful when you go wandering around that you're actually counting those as dwellings. Unusual things. Retirement homes. You come across quite a few of those in your walk. The retirement homes will have a whole lot of different sort of houses scattered around. You're going to walk on a right-hand rule, and we'll talk about that, through the retirement village, but you only count the dwellings that are independent living, so the ones that have their own kitchen and their own front door and sometimes have their own letterbox. How do you know which these are? Well, you sort of get a feel for it, but you can also just pop in and ask the manager. Just go in. Say, hi, look, I'm from Colmar Brunton or Consumer Link, and this is what we're doing. We're not selling anything, this is why we're doing it. And generally they'll be quite good about it. And they'll say, look, that's cool, over in here is all our sort of independent living units, and you can wander around there. Okay? Sometimes they'll even give you a map, which is really useful. But that's all good. Your supervisor and your trainer will have more about dwellings, and you need to be really clear on that when you go out for a walk and when you're walking the walk, because it's dwellings that we are counting. So you've got to be really clear about what you are counting and how you're counting them. So that's dwellings. But how do you use the start point? How do you use the map to actually look at your walk? So for establishment, remember this is establishment and it's the urban walk. So it is knock on a house, skip 3 houses, knock on a house, skip 3 houses, knock on a house around. And we're walking to the right. So let's have a quick look at a map. Here is a map, and there is a little red X. So there's a little X. So if the map hasn't been walked on at all, it's a completely fresh map, there'll be a little X, and that's where you're going to start. Right? Now you can see this. There's a big mesh block. It's all off the map. There's your map boundary, and there's inside the map. That's where we're interviewing. You can see the road carries on across there, but this bit of the road is off the map, and this bit is in the map. So you be very careful where the boundaries are. So this person started, they've got to this house, and that's where they start. And the way you do the walk is you spin around so that your back is facing the front door of the house, and you're looking straight out. You point to the right, and off you walk. And as long as your right hand shoulder is towards the houses and the fence line, you're going to walk around and you're going to end up walking the right way and walking back where you were. So this person gets started. Yep, they're going up there. So they get started, and they've walked up, and they walk around this way and around here, and they just keep walking to the right, walking all the way around, 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 until, lo and behold, they get to where they started again. Now they've walked that whole inner block. Okay? They haven't gone outside the map, they haven't walked off the map over here, they've stayed inside, they've walked an inner block. What happens now? So when they get to where they started again, they've walked the whole inner block, they're going to jump to another block and start the process again. Now, when you jump, unless you happen to be some sort of deity and can stay hovering in midair, you land. So where you land is where you start again. So much like the X was where we started here, when we jump, boom, we land. And where we land, that's where we start again. And we walk to the right, and we end up walking around the block, and we get to the end again, and then we jump and we walk around this block. And we walk around all the inner blocks. Once you have walked over all the inner blocks, you've done what's called a first walk. Then you contact your supervisor. So I've walked the whole first walk. What do I do now? And they'll go, did you walk the right walk pattern? I sure did, because I watched the videos. In which case they'll go, great, well you'll be able to get the second walk done really easily. And we'll look at a tabletop exercise that will show you how to do that. Right? That's the walk pattern. Each house that you knock on, each dwelling that you knock on, has an outcome code, and it's really important you get those outcome codes from your supervisor, so that lets people know what is happening at each space. When you're walking your map, you'll come across all sorts of obstacles, like series of strip mall sort of shops. So you just walk past them because they're not dwellings, they don't count. You'll come across empty houses, houses in construction, things like that. They don't count, so you just walk past them. Sometimes the boundary line of the map you're walking in on the mesh block, the boundary line will run right through the middle of a street. So this one runs right along the middle of the street. So that side of the street is outside the map area, but that side of the street is inside the map area. Sometimes it'll run right through the middle of, not even on a street, like right through the middle of a block. And when that happens, you have to imagine that the line, the map line, is like a virtual road, and you treat it like a virtual road. Like if there was a road that went down there, where would I end up being? Most important things about doing a walk. Keep your right hand shoulder towards the houses. Right hand shoulder towards the fence line so that you're walking right. You do that, you're going to walk around a block. Doesn't matter how many squiggles and squaggles there are in it, you're going to end up right in the right place again. You're going to walk the right way round. Every time you get to a corner or a bit of an area, keep checking your map. Keep looking at the map. Am I still in the map, or have I walked off the map? Really important. You've got to get it right the first time, because if you walk off the map and start knocking on houses, it all ends in tears. Alright? Keep looking the map, walk in the map, walk to the right. What we're going to do next is we're going to do a tabletop exercise, and we'll see how that looks in 3D. So, I'll see you there.